What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers need a center. The problem is that there's not really these like great well of options, right? It's very limited on who's available. Guys that could even potentially be available, you're kind of like, Lakers need a very specific type of center, right? Lob threat for Luka. Ideally, somebody with some interior presence, some imposing interior presence, somebody that can, bang with the big boys. Never going to stop a Jokic, but can you get somebody that can just at least stick with him, right? At least kind of just try to make things difficult. Somebody that has good size, good strength, moves well, has good athleticism, all of those things. Because again, any guy that you're going to get is probably a backup to a third center on most teams, particularly a contending level team, right? But any center you get, Luka is probably going to make look better than advertised, right? Which is why I really don't hate the idea of just like keeping it in-house and just bring in Trey Jemison, right? Like there's an argument for like Koloko, but I think Koloko just gives you, he's a shot blocking Hayes, right? He gives you what Jackson Hayes gives you, but he's, better defensively, in my opinion, right? Trey Jemison gives you a completely different look than either of them. He's big, he's physical, he's 6'11", 270, right? Like, and we've seen him just be very active. He moves his feet really well. He's able to stay with guards. He can be a little foul happy, but so can Jackson Hayes, so can Christian Koloko, so are most centers, right? Like, he gives you the effort, he gives you the energy, but I love his attitude, right? He reminds me so much of 2020 Dwight, not as far as like talent level and stuff. I'm not saying he's as good as Dwight, but just like Dwight was that goon that year, right? Like he was like getting technicals and like flagrants and, just like punch people in the mouth, right? Like you saw that little squabble that Trey Jemison got in the other day, and it was just like, I loved it. Right, he's like, mushes the dude's face, like, get out of my face, man. Like, and he's had a couple of those. And he's just laughing and clapping, like, come on. Like, I love that, right? Because he knows what he's doing. Like, you're not bothering me, but I'm bothering you. I'm getting under you, right? And I like that, especially come playoff time, right? It'd be nice to have that guy, one that gives you a completely different look than Jackson Hayes. So, like, you have different points of attack as far as, like, center schemes go. So you have that floor running, athletic, kind of just, running big. But then you have Trey Jemison, who can do a little bit of that too, but also is just big, imposing, physical, right? I like that. I like having those different looks. And I also like the idea of just Trey Jemison being that guy that just, get to the playoffs and you're playing Denver. He can just be the hard foul guy. Nothing dirty. I'm not saying like, sweep anyone's legs, or I don't want to see anything dirty. But like Dwight, Jokic was getting frustrated because Dwight was just hitting him, right? No easy buckets, right? Like just, hey, yeah, I'm going to get the foul, but I'm going to make it count, right? This isn't going to be some little like, tic-tac foul. No, if I'm going to hit you, I'm going to hit you. And I like that. I think Trey Jemison is a guy that could really be that for the Lakers, be that guy that can, just give you that good hard playoff foul, give you that good interior physicality, make people hate, like, man, like, even if he fouls out every game, who cares, right? Just be that interior presence. But he's young, he's 25, right? He's a guy that I could see sticking around for long term, right? Like, I think he's a guy that makes sense as like your second or third center down the line. But for right now, I mean, even if you want to stick with Jackson Hayes, like fine, you can stick with Jackson Hayes in the starting unit and then bring Trey Jemison in the backup role. But we've seen him. He hustles. He rebounds well. He can block shots, right? Like he gets putbacks. He can take guys off the dribble. We've seen him take multiple guys. It's a little awkward, I'm not gonna lie. Looks a little clumsy at times, but he made the baskets, right? Like that's all I care about. I don't care how it looks. I mean, look at guys like Sean Marion and stuff and their shots. Like, as long as the ball goes in the hoop, I don't care how it looks, right? Just put the ball in the hoop and then be able to defend on the other side. But you've seen his versatility. He sets good, hard, physical screens, right? He has a good understanding of like how to position himself, how to slip. Right? I just think him and Luka in that pick and roll action could be very like lethal, right? What are the options that are out there, right? kind of like think of yeah, it would be nice to get a veteran guy, but it's like who? Right? Like Mo Bamba, like the guy can't even be a third big on most of these teams. He just keeps getting waived and released and all kinds of stuff from players and getting shipped out for peanuts for a reason, right? Like, unfortunately, we didn't get to see what that reason was because he was hurt the entire time when he was a Laker. But a lot of it is his lack of motor. He doesn't really want to defend. He just wants to block shit. He wants to be a highlight guy, right? He wants to block shots and shoot threes. He doesn't want to have to play within the schemes. He doesn't want to have to bang with the big boys. He doesn't want to get the hard fouls. It's why teams usually would go even smaller rather than him. Right? He's still young. There's still that potential. Yes, he can space the floor. In concept, he sounds like a great idea, right? Because he's long, he's lengthy, he's got a huge 7'6" wingspan, something like that, right? Like, he's a guy that kind of gives you that floor spacing. But again, he's also thin, right? Like, you look at Trey Jemison, he's just big and bulky and physical and just, I like the idea of that, right? And then it's like, okay, well, who else? Like Daniel Tice, sure, but he's 6'8", right? Like, so you're just running small ball all season, right? Or like a Kelly Olynyk if he becomes available, sure, I wouldn't hate that, right? Like he can be physical, but he's got decent size, but it's just he's not afraid of the squabble either, but I just keep it in house, right? I wanted Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk, you can make an argument, is probably the best option out there if he were to become available, right? But I also don't hate the idea of Trey just being an interior anchor presence, right? And especially if you have intentions on him being a part of this team going forward, right? Like if you really like him and are hey, he's a guy that kind of makes some sense. I'd like to see them kind of continue to give him more run. Right, which they probably will because you don't have any other center than Jackson Hayes. I made a video about it before. Lakers are going to be patient, right? Lakers are going to take their time in bringing in a center. And my guess is that part of that taking time is, again, if that right guy becomes available, they'll probably take it. Like if that guy that's okay, he's a clear-cut option, let's go get him, then I could see the Lakers doing that. But until then, I think the Lakers are going to be patient. Kind of let things unfold, let things develop a little bit for them. And then in that process, play guys like Trey Jemison, play guys like Christian Koloko as many games as they possibly can, and then get a better idea of okay, we're going with Koloko or we're going with Jemison. I just prefer Jemison because I just think Koloko gives you a lot of the same stuff Jackson Hayes does. Yeah, he gives you better shot blocking, sure, but Jemison can give you the same thing. And, I think if he's solidified, if he's on the main roster and he has that roster spot, I think he's going to do whatever he can because he's not going to want to get waived, or let go in the offseason. He's not going to. And if he's good, you probably have him dirt cheap, right? He's probably not starting next year, but if he's really good this year, why wouldn't you keep him around, right? So you probably could get him for pennies on the dollar on a long-term deal, right? 4 years, $10 million or something like that, or 4 years, whatever, $15 million, something like that, whatever, right? To where he's a cheap option and you have him long-term, especially if him and Luka can develop that relationship, can develop that kind of that standing. And again, he's young. He's 25. I mean, he's not like Mark Williams being 23, but he's still young, right? He still has some good intangibles, good interior presence, good physicality. He moves well. He's very mobile for a guy his size, being 6'11", 270. Usually guys 270 aren't very mobile, right? They're not very athletic. They're kind of just that big interior presence. But no, on the contrary, he's athletic. We've seen him switch out and defend guards. We've seen him switch and defend lengthy forwards. We've seen him, bang with the big boys on the interior, right? And I think it also, if you bring him on the starting, to an actual roster spot and he actually integrates into the starting unit or even in a bench unit, I think he'll only continue to improve and get better because he's going to get, he's just kind of getting thrown in spots and it's inconsistent minutes. Right? You see it all the time. Max Christie I've talked about, right? Talked about him for years. I was super hype on Max Christie. Right? Even when people told me, just let it go, man. He's not it. It became that, right? And it was because it was just like, dude, the guy doesn't, like, he's so sporadic in his minutes and his opportunity. And it's like, yeah, you're going to play this game, but then you're not going to play for 3 nights or next 3 games. And then you're going to play this game, and then you're going to start this game, but then you're not going to play. Like, guys have to get comfortable. Guys have to get minutes. Guys have to get a role so they can understand, learn the role, better adapt to that role. I think Jameson is one of those guys, like, if you actually get him on the roster, you give him a real role with this team, he gets consistent minutes, whether it's 30 or it's 15, he's just going to get more and more comfortable out there, get more and more experienced out there, and I think he's the guy that's really going to make an impact. I think he's a guy, like, again, he's not like, I don't think he's going to make an impact to the extent where like Lakers now, like, that's it. He was the missing piece all along, right? Like, but I think he can make an impact and enough to where the Lakers can weather this season and potentially still win an NBA championship, right? Because that's what we liked about Mark Williams, right? Is that he could be a lob threat. He was big, physical. There's questions about his defense. He had question marks, right? It wasn't like he was good. Like, obviously, like, I'm super hyped on him. I'm still hyped on him. Unfortunately, he's just not a Laker, but there were a lot of question marks with him, right? As with all these guys. So, like, why not go with the guy that's just like a big physical tank? Why not go with the tank is my point. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I love to hear it either way. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.